electric cars are becoming more and more popular, and I, like everyone else, actually like them. I didn't like them at the beginning, but things have changed a lot. Electric cars are very efficient, they're fast, and they have less parts than regular cars. That means they need less maintenance. But there's one thing they have in common: depreciation. Unless it's a Tesla, most electric vehicles depreciate faster than standard vehicles. And there is one that is the leader: the BMW i3. For today's video, I'm going to show you why the BMW i3 is the worst electric vehicle that you can buy new. And if you decide to buy one new or used, I'm going to show you what you need to know before you even look for one. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about the history of the i3. The BMW i3 concept was introduced back in 2011 at the German Auto Show. The purpose was to make the i3 part of the BMW's new division, the Project I. The car didn't go into production until 2013. The idea behind the i3 was to make BMW a leader in the EV production and possibly take over Tesla. And my question is, has it actually taken over? First, let's look at the share market of the BMW i3 versus other electric vehicles. Since 2013, they have sold about 37,000 units in the US and 1,200 units in Canada, compared to the Nissan Leaf, which sold 100,000 units in the US and over 5,000 in Canada. Now, one clear reason is the price. Let's look at the Tesla, which is the most expensive EV. The Model S, which is triple the price of the i3, from 2013, it sold 140,000 units in the US and over 6,000 units in Canada, which makes Tesla 60% market share winner. Another problem with this BMW i3 is depreciation. Now, to be fair, it is a BMW, therefore it will depreciate faster than most cars. But this is actually the leader when it comes to depreciation. Within 5 years, the BMW i3 has lost close to 70% of the original value. Just Google cars that depreciate faster. This one is in second place, worse than the 7 Series. The worst part about this car is the MSRP. In the USA, it starts at $44,000 with a mediocre range. You can find one for under $10,000 with less than 20,000 miles. And that's not the worst part. I happen to work with a lot of dealerships, BMW dealerships, used dealerships as well, and they all said the same thing. It takes a long time for them to sell one of this because they're not as desirable. Another problem with this car is actually the range. Take this for example. This offers 120 kilometers on a single charge. And if you want to get more kilometers, you have to get a petrol engine, which is technically the range extender, which of course will cost you more money. Now, this is in 2020, and this BMW only offers 120 kilometers on a single charge. A Hyundai Kona offers better range than this. Now, I think when BMW decided to make this vehicle, they didn't think of North Americans. They only thought of Europeans, which drive only 6,000 miles per year. In North America, some people actually drive up to 3 hours a day to get to work. Like myself, I drive a week, potentially sometimes about 1,000 kilometers a week because I drive a lot for what I do. I actually know someone that owned a vehicle like this, that only owned it for 3 months, and after that he got rid of it because he almost got stuck everywhere he went. And the problem is that if you add the extend range, you're gonna pay a lot more money, which is not worth because you have so many options out there instead of buying one like this. The next problem with this car, yes, there is more to it. Just get a popcorn and have a sit because the problems will continue. But don't worry, we'll get to the positive side as well. This vehicle has very low safety ratings. The European Safety Ratings Agency actually rated this only 4 stars. The overall ratings are lower than the other 6 best-selling plug-in electric vehicles: the Volvo V60 plug-in hybrid, the Renault Zoe, the Nissan Leaf, the Mitsubishi Outlander, the Chevy Volt, and the Opel Ampera, all of which were rated 5 stars. The 2014 Model S got a 5-star rating, one of the best in the market. The problem is very simple. It's the way this car is built. So for example, this vehicle weighs 2,600 pounds. It is as light as the Apollo supercar. You can technically have 4 guys lift this from one spot to the other without having to waste the short range battery. The BMW i3 was the first mass-produced car with the most of internal structure and body made of carbon fiber reinforced plastic, which is why it is so light, and this is why it is so unsafe as well. Now, the positive thing about depreciation, it means that you can get a used one for very cheap. But be aware, if you don't get warranty, this vehicle, it's not like a Honda Civic where you can just purchase parts online. Not many manufacturers actually make parts for this, so you better get a warranty. Otherwise, this is not a type of car that you can fix in your garage while holding the fire extinguisher in one side and the wrench on the other side. The other problem with this car, the space. It is so small inside. On top of that, it doesn't offer regular doors. They're pretty cool when you open them, but at the same time, they're not very practical. So I'm 6'2", and let me try to get in here. And I actually feel like cramped. It is so small. On top of that, if I had to sit in front as the driver, no one can sit in the back because I'm so tall and I have to move the seat all the way to the back. One positive thing about this that I like is actually the key fob. It's so small and so different from any other BMW. And the interior looks very futuristic. Also, the exterior looks very different. It is, of course, a head turner. I parked it right beside a Kia Soul, which I have it for this week. And it is almost the same size as the Kia Soul. The other problem with this car, too, is how it drives. So this thing has 24,000 kilometers. And in my opinion, it feels like it has 100,000. Everything feels like it's falling apart. And again, that is my opinion. And it is not even fast, and that's the problem with this car too. So there are some positive things about this, not everything is negative, and I understand what BMW is trying to do, but the price does not justify this car. This wasn't like a $28,000 car that you can buy if you live downtown or if you just drive like maybe 200 kilometers a week. I understand that. But for day-to-day use, this thing is completely useless. And I don't see many of them on the road because they didn't sell a lot in Canada, only 1,200 since 2013. Like, that is pretty bad numbers. Why isn't BMW killing this? Well, I think they probably are hoping that maybe it will catch up and people start looking into this. But today, you don't want to buy this car. You can get a Honda Icona that gets up to like 400 kilometers on a single charge. And why would you even buy this? And the one that we have for today is actually a rear-wheel drive model. Used, they look very appealing because they're inexpensive. I think I found one model with like 25,000 kilometers, 30,000 kilometers, about $10,000 or $11,000 or so. It didn't have the range extender, but it was so reasonably priced for such a almost new car with so many kilometers. On top of that, people are so concerned about these cars too because what manufacturers don't understand, what automakers don't understand about competing with Tesla, they think that they could just make a car and just give it to the public and they're happy. We made an electric car. Here you go. You have the option. It's not that easy. The reason why people go for Tesla, for example, is because Tesla has built the biggest supercharging station in the world. They have superchargers everywhere. I had a Tesla Model S for a week and I drove to Kitchener, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away from Toronto. And halfway it told me where to stop and charge it. I went inside McDonald's, charged the car, fully charged. It was about 100 kilometers. And then after I came out McDonald's, it was fully charged. Literally 15 minutes. And that's something that people don't understand. Meanwhile, this here will take about 6 hours to charge from home and about, I think, 3 hours if you find the right charger, level 2 or so. You feel every piece of the road in this car. Every single piece. And like the quality interior is not the best. It's not even a luxury vehicle compared to like Tesla. I think even a Honda Icona looks better than this car inside. Like, I understand the design is very futuristic, very appealing and so on. Very interesting. But this car is not meant for day-to-day, like to go to work and so on. This is probably a weekend car. Or for example, if you're a retired person and you drive maybe 100 kilometers a week, this is the best thing. And possibly not buy new because it's such a waste of money. 70% of the original value, that is a huge drop in my opinion. You just can't justify anything about this car. Used, it's an amazing deal, but again, as I said previously, make sure you get a warranty because if you run out of the warranty, this car parts are not easy to find. They're made specifically to this vehicle. And electric cars generally lose value, but this has lost 70% of its original value. It's actually rated after the Nissan Leaf. Now, the Nissan Leaf is very reasonably priced new, so it's not even as expensive as this one. With that in mind, thanks for watching, and I hope I was able to help with your decision. And again, I don't hate on this vehicle, it's just my experience, and these are probably things that you can find online yourself, like the safety ratings, the battery range, and all that stuff. You actually can verify everything. You can look for one in your area and see what the original price was versus what they're selling it used. With that in mind, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and let me know if you have any specific question that I can answer that maybe I didn't answer, and just leave a comment in the section below. And at the same time, don't forget to follow me on Instagram to find out the upcoming videos. Be safe. Cheers.